We're gonna have a new guaranteed legendary champion, guys, and it seems like I was pretty damn right with my assumption that they will do it in a deck of fate, and the champion will be the one that I thought it will be. So I'm gonna walk you through everything that you need to know. This event will start on Monday, okay? I'm gonna walk you through the details, basically what you need in order to accumulate points. We're gonna talk if the champion is worth it. We're going to go over the skill sets and everything else related to it. Of course, it will be a Chaos Awakes champion, which is part of the new event. Before we dive into all of that, guys, I quickly want to let you know that the giveaway for the Kurosa challenge has been completed. The rewards were sent yesterday. I did not have a chance to basically announce the winners on my community tab, but I'm quickly going to share the names with you guys. So if you receive the rewards, you know that you got them from me. So basically we have Makuta that won. We have Korean that won. We have Togi whatever. We have Amit Gaming, and we have I Am Kamazots. So these are the 5 winners that won from the Kurosa challenge. Basically, I think it was a legendary skill tome, some energy, and other goodies. Congrats to you guys. The avatars were sent as well, most likely yesterday, but I announced that in my Discord, the top 10 players that actually managed to defeat the highest stages for that. And I quickly want to give you guys a heads up. I'm not sure how many of you guys actually had a chance to check out my other channel where I'll be covering Godforge. Yesterday, I released a video with Hell Hades, basically providing as much information as possible related to the very first alpha testing that Godforge will have. And guess what? It will start this month. Now, you still have a chance to join in if you pre-register through their website. You're going to be able to join into the third wave. Make sure you guys come over to the channel if you are interested in Godforge. Subscribe to the channel. I will be doing live streams as soon as the alpha becomes available. And of course, I will be covering tons and tons of different topics on this channel related to Godforge. News, tips and tricks, guides, builds, pretty much everything that you need to know related to the game. So this is the newest video right here. Feel free to check it out if you did not have a chance yet. I will put the link in the pinned comment. The game definitely started feeling more like a game now, because this will be the very first alpha testing. And of course, the game is still a long way to go till the actual release. Tons of things to be improved, etc. But this will kind of like give them some ideas and feedback on how the actual game feels like in terms of mechanics, in terms of economy, etc. Right? So definitely come and try it out. And by the way, for whoever thinks that there's only one camera option, they actually have 3 camera options in the alpha testing, and most likely based on the feedback that you guys will provide, they might adjust that. Who knows? Maybe they're going to bring more options, maybe they're going to remove some of them and they're going to bring in different ones. Feel free to check it out. Either way, let's dive into the guaranteed event, guys. So, this Monday, 7th of July, they are planning to launch an Infernal Deck of Fate event, where you'll have a chance to collect fragments for the champion Gracchus Turn Drake. Yes, I think I've told you guys probably like, 20 times. This is going to be the guaranteed. Why? Because he is the weakest out of all of them, okay? We're going to discuss about the kit and everything else. It's really a shame because the champion looks so freaking badass. But we're going to go over the kit. I already have a guide on the champion to kind of like showcase what he can do, where he could potentially be decent. Now, another thing that I've told you, make sure you guys are saving your soul stones, because you will require soul stones. So in order to accumulate points in this deck of fate, you will require to summon souls from soul stones and get artifacts and accessories. Now, one thing that for my surprise, it did turn out to be true. If you guys watched the video where I announced the 2x boosted event on Mortal Soulstones the other day, I was like, you know what? I actually had a dream where Plarium decided to just make a 2x on Mortal Soulstones because they will do the guaranteed event and we need to open Soulstones. And they thought about us like, let's not drain them completely and leave them with some soul stones, and that's why they've done the 2x only on the mortal soul stones rather than the immortals. And then I was like, yeah, I slapped myself. I woke up and yeah, it was just a dream. But big props, because it does seem like they actually thought about it this time, and instead of making a 2x on all of them to completely drain our resources, they made a 2x on mortal soul stones, basically not making you feel like you need to open the immortal and eternals during a 2x, so they skipped that. And now, if by any chance you were patient and you did not open your soul stones, the immortal and eternals, if you have any of them, you will have available these soul stones now for the Deck of Fate if you're planning to go for the guaranteed. So big props to them, because they deserve it this time around. So I think I've mentioned it already, I'm not sure, but you will require to get artifacts and accessories as the second option of gaining points for this Deck of Fate. It is pretty hard just to do it by farming gear, because you will need well over 20k energy to get it done. But leaving all that on the side, guys, you will not be able to pin a card rarity during this Deck of Fate, so it's going to be very similar with the last one. I'm not sure what other rewards we are going to have in the Deck of Fate, but all I can tell you so far is that there will be a total of 100 fragments for this champion. 30 fragments will be hidden under 3 epic cards, 10 fragments each. 40 fragments under 8 rare cards, 5 fragments each. And 30 fragments under 10 common cards, 3 fragments each. Now, if by any chance you are trying to collect all of the 4 Chaos Awakes champions so you can earn those exclusive rewards, I think you're getting a frame, and I can't really remember what else they're giving you, which is pretty interesting. Now, this might be your chance to put your hand on this champion. If you are a Pokemon collector that collects all of the champions regardless how good they are and stuff, this will be your chance to get the champion. If you are a different player that thinks that this champion could potentially help you on your account, we're going to discuss about that as well. Personally, I'm not part of any of those 3 groups, so I am going to skip this guaranteed event. And I'm going to explain you why right now. So my account is pretty stacked. When I'm looking at a champion, and I'm going to repeat this probably till the day I die a million times over and over and over again, because some people tend to think that, well, Skratch, just because you are endgame, it doesn't mean that this champion sucks. It doesn't mean that this champion won't be helpful. I'm going to repeat it again. A champion's value stands in his utility all around, regardless if you're early game, mid game, end game, super Kraken mode, or whatever. When a champion does not have that value, that champion is just not great in my opinion. As simple as that. Does he have utility all around? Is he going to be good only in the very first couple of weeks while you're progressing? Is he going to be good in the mid game? Is he going to survive the end game and still provide some utility to some accounts later on, right? So that's how I'm looking at champions. I do not care that they don't do damage in arena. I do not care that they don't do the craziest damage in Hydra or anything like that. It's all about what the champion brings to the table for the entire longevity of the game, right? And there are a lot of them that don't really provide that. But still, even some of them that are considered bad, they still have that at least one unique spot where they're really, really good, okay? I'm just saying that because yesterday I've made a video on the 7-day login champion as well. And some people were like, what? Skratch, just because she doesn't hit hard in arena, she's trash? No, it's just because she has a 75% chance to land the block buffs for a legendary. You have epics that do it better. Fanax does it the same, and this deals 10 times more damage as an epic champion. Easier to book, etc. So that's how I'm looking at the champions, okay? But either way, Gracchus turn Drake. He looks amazing, as I've just mentioned before. He does have pretty good base stats overall in terms of survivability. He is a HP-based champion. Spirit Affinity. With A1, he attacks an enemy and will ignore 25% of the target's defense, and will heal all allies with less than 50% HP by 10% of this champion's max HP. which usually is really good because you want the champion that heals to heal based off his own stats rather than the ally stats. Because a nuker getting a 10% of his max HP is not really going to be doing a lot for him, right? But when you get a 10% from this champion's HP on the nuker, is going to be a completely different story because it could potentially fully heal him, right? Then, with the second skill, attacks all enemies twice. Each hit will ignore 25% defense against targets with less than 50% HP. So as you guys can probably notice, it's literally all about this champion and all about the enemies having less than 50% HP. Which means that if you are going in a longer fight, he could potentially actually activate this part. If not, you might have to bring in a different damage dealer to take them down to 50% HP to make the most out of his skill set. Now, that is not mandatory, of course. The first hit has a chance of placing a defense down on each enemy. The second hit has a chance of placing a block buffs debuff on each enemy. And each hit will ignore 25% resistance against targets with less than 50% HP. So defense down and block buffs. Now this is super easy to compare with Uugo, the epic champion that does pretty much the exact same thing. Now on top of it, Uugo does bring you leech, it does bring you a bit of a cleanse and heal on this skill, but it basically lands AoE defense down and block buffs on a 3-turn cooldown. So they're very, very similar. Uugo being an epic, once again, much easier to skill up that champion. They are different factions. You might be looking at champions to help you progress in faction wars. If that is the main thing that you are looking for, then Grakos will be the right champion for you because he can provide you with some support in there. The damage is really, really weak. Definitely not something that is going to stand out if you're comparing him with another 100 different damage dealers. The damage is really on the very low side. It doesn't matter that he ignores defense. It doesn't matter that he has 63% base crit damage and 22k HP. Is just really weak in terms of multipliers. But if you want to have the defense down, the block buffs for faction wars is gonna get the job done. With the third skill, places an increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns and a block damage buff on all allies for 1 turn. Now, fully booked, this will go down to a 3-turn cooldown. Once again, if you need that extra support for faction wars or anything like that, you can 100% use the champion to give you the block damage buff, the increased defense buff, a bit of healing from the A1. Now, personally, I'm not the biggest fan of this skill because the block damage is only on for 1 turn. Yes, it is on a 3-turn cooldown, but I would prefer this to be on a 4-turn cooldown with a block damage for 2 turns. Now, increased defense with block damage don't really make that much sense because the increased defense is meant to basically help you mitigate damage, while the block damage will completely block the whole incoming damage. So if it would have been something else, instead of the increased defense, it would have been a bit better in my opinion, but still, as a progression champion, he's decent, right? I've mentioned this in the video where I showcase the champion. If you're still progressing through the game, this champion can definitely help you. In the exact same way that the other 900 champions that we have in the game will be able to provide you with some utility during your progression in the game, regardless if we're talking about dungeons, Doom Tower, Clan Boss, etc. Now for Clan Boss, we already have much better options, and to give a simple example, you might not have the champion available, but as an idea, you do have Demita. Now, Demita overall is a much, much better champion. She will bring you the block damage on a 3-turn cooldown as well with continuous heals, and she will increase the duration of buffs. She will provide you with much better support, much better healing. She is a Void Epic though, so maybe you don't have her available. But if you are looking at building teams for Clan Boss, you will need probably somebody that increases the duration of buffs to be able to get to that 2-to-1 ratio if you're looking to do a pretty decent Clan Boss team, right? So she is much better from that point of view. Now, another thing that Grakos actually has available in his skill set is the passive. If an ally has more than 50% HP and is under any buffs placed by this champion, that ally will deal 10% more damage. If an ally has less than 50% HP and is attacked by an enemy under any debuffs placed by this champion, that ally will receive 10% less damage. Is it worth it to put this champion into your Hydra team, for example, just to try and push more damage with this? Yes and no. It really depends what other block buff champions you have available. He's not at a quality level of a Gerptuk. He's not at the quality level of a champion like Firel that will actually boost the damage and provide you with tons of utility at the same time. Now, he's definitely not a bad champion to enable you to start pushing onto the Hydra clan boss. And that's mainly because a lot of people will get to a point where they struggle to keep their champions alive, even if they're doing normal or hard difficulty in the Hydra clan boss. So he will get the job done in there with the block damage. Now, the one problem that a lot of you guys might have is basically having this block damage stolen constantly. Him not being Void Affinity or anything like that can always weak hit and not apply the block buffs. And the biggest issue will be if the Head of Mischief will steal the block damage and spread it to the other heads or keep it on himself and another head, for example, which overall will make you lose damage if you're not able to score damage versus the enemies. You are going to end up in overlapping the boss and they will not take as many turns, which means that you're just going to waste a lot of turns. They might have that block damage on and you're not going to be able to push higher damage regardless of his passive enabling you to deal 10% more damage, right? But overall, as I've mentioned, if your main goal is to progress through the game and you're still like super early on and you have the resources to try and get a champion from the deck of fate, why not, right? Would I invest you with confidence and be like, go and book this champion, he's going to help you a lot in a lot of content? Hell no. But if you guys like the look, if you're a Pokemon collector or whatever, you can go and get the champion from the deck of fate. At the end of the day, it's a guaranteed. You know exactly what you're getting at the end of the event. When you're summoning, you have no idea what you're getting. You could get something worse than him or something 10 times better. But that is basically the way the RNG, that's the way that the RNG actually works. You have an HP aura in all battles, 28% too. Personally, as I've mentioned, this champion will bring 0 value to my account regardless of whatever game mode I can think about. He's not going to be helpful for me in the Curse City. He's not going to be helpful for me in Faction Wars. He's not going to be helpful in Clan Boss, Hydra, Chimera, anywhere. So personally, I am going to skip this deck of fate and the guaranteed event. Not because I don't have the resources to do it, but I do not want to get this champion at the cost of opening my soul stones without having a 2x event. Now, if we would have had a 2x event on the Immortal Soulstones, starting together with this, most likely I would open my Soulstones. So if by any chance tomorrow they will announce a 2x on Soulstones or on Monday, I will reconsider it and of course open my Soulstones during a 2x, and getting the champion will be just considered a bonus for me. It doesn't mean that I need to use the champion. I can just get it, vault it, but at least I'm opening my Soulstones during a 2x, and everything else that comes next to it is just going to be a bonus, right? That's how I'm looking at it. But we're gonna have to wait and see if they will indeed do a 2x or they won't. Most likely they will not, but hey, they can always surprise us. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. Are you going for the champion? You're not going for the champion. You have soul stones. You don't have soul stones, right? As usual, much love. Appreciate all of you guys watching, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace.